the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2, in conjunction with Colfax High School, presents Viking pregame. A look at today's Colfax Vikings boys game. And now, Viking pregame.
Good evening, and welcome to the NLWN2 studios. Rick Olson here, and tonight the 6-11 Colfax Vikings, who are 3-5 in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference, are getting ready to take on their rivals just down Highway 170, the Boyceville Bulldogs, who are 9-9 as well as 3-6 in the Dunn-St. Croix. The Vikings are coming off a 55-45 loss to the conference-leading Durand, Arkansas Panthers last Thursday, while the Bulldogs are coming off a 55-37 loss to the Spring Valley Cardinals also on Thursday. Now, on tonight's edition of Viking Pregame, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup between the Boyceville Bulldogs and the Colfax Vikings. Then we'll get Coach Knoll's perspective on tonight's game. Following that, we'll take a quick look at where things stand in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference. And then our broadcast crew will bring you all the play-by-play action of tonight's game. So it's time to get ready for some exciting high school boys basketball. All that coming up right after this brief timeout. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2 and Viking TV.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
Ready! We don't have time for spills. Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
Helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back to Viking Pregame, where we're getting ready to bring you all the action of tonight's game with a Dunn-St. Croix Conference matchup between the Boyceville Bulldogs and the Colfax Vikings. The 6-11 Vikings, who are 3-5 in the Dunn-St. Croix, are hoping to regroup following their 55-45 loss to the Durand, Arkansas Panthers last Thursday. The Bulldogs, who are 9-9 as well as 3-6 in the Dunn-St. Croix Conference, are hoping to bounce back after their 55-37 loss to the Spring Valley Cardinals. Now, in the Vikings' effort against the Durand, Arkansas Panthers, the Vikings were led in scoring by 5'9" senior Elijah Ensminger, who hit on 9 of 18 field goal attempts, including 2 three-pointers, and went 2 for 2 from the free throw line for 22 points. He was followed by 5'11" junior Aiden Fisher, who went 6 for 15 from the floor, including a three-pointer, and 4 for 6 from the charity stripe for 17 points. On the boards, leading the way for the Vikings were 5'11" senior Mason Yarrington, along with Ensminger and Fisher, who grabbed 4 rebounds each. The 3-6 in the conference, Boyceville Bulldogs, are coming off a 55-37 loss to the Spring Valley Cardinals on Thursday. Now, so far this season, Boyceville has shown that they can be a scrappy team, even when they come out on the short end of scores. Now, leading the way for the Bulldogs is 6'2" senior guard Devin Halama, who's shooting 36% from the floor, including 25% from beyond the three-point arch, and 71% from the free throw line, while averaging over 14 points per game. He's followed by 6'4" senior forward Grant Kaiser, who's hitting on 57% from the floor, as well as 57% from the free throw line, while also averaging over 13 points per game. Kaiser also leads the Bulldogs on the boards by pulling down nearly 10 rebounds per game, while Halama contributes by grabbing over 9 per game. Now, thus far this season, the Vikings are being led in scoring by Ensminger, who's averaging nearly 17.5 points per game. Aiden Fisher is also scoring in double digits with an average of 15.5 points per game. Mason Yarrington and Eli Ralph are also contributing over 5 points per game. Now, leading the way rebounding for the Vikings is Fisher, who's grabbing almost 6.5 boards per game, with Eli Ralph and Orion Nichols grabbing right around 4 each. Coming up next, following this timeout, we'll get the coach's perspective as we chat with Viking head coach Martin Knoll on Coach's Corner. You're tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Your family is your legacy. Planning for a natural disaster will make sure you're all safe. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today.
Time now to see what the coaches have to say. It's Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. And now, Coach's Corner.
Once again on Coach's Corner, we're talking with Viking boys head coach Martin Knoll. And Coach, back on Thursday, the Vikings had a game with the conference-leading Durand, Arkansas Panthers, and they gave them everything they could handle before taking a 55-45 loss. What are your thoughts about that game?
Well, obviously, I liked that we were able to compete at a high level. I thought we handled the ball well. We made plays for each other. I thought Aiden and Elijah were outstanding, offensively. And then as a team, I thought we defended really well. And, we made it a low-scoring game. And we had some woulda, coulda, shouldas that just didn't go our way.
Well, in that game, the Viking defense kept the Vikings in the game by pretty much shutting down one of the Panthers' leading scorers, and Parker Almstead, holding him to only 3 points, as well as keeping the young Hurlburt under control. Can you talk about the quality of the Viking defensive play?
Yes, I mean, their three leading scorers, we held to a combined 17 points in that game. That's with Hurlburt getting 11, and then the two other kids both getting, threes, and one of the kids made a bank three, was his only shot. So holding those three kids to 17 points is what Hurlburt scores on the average on a given night. So defensively, it was a great effort. They did a great job of defending and kind of adjusting to how Durand wanted to play. Durand played zone at us. We got them to come out of the zone, play us a man, and then kind of went from there. There was a play late in the game where if it would have went our way, we had a chance to cut it to like 3 minutes left, and it went against us, and then the game went to 7, and then we had to foul, and it ended up being a 10-point game at the end.
Well, tonight the Vikings are going to continue their Dunn St. Croix Conference play by taking on the Boyceville Bulldogs. What can you tell us about the Bulldogs?
Boyceville is, they're 9-9 on the year. They're having a solid season. We beat them the first time in overtime at their place. That was a tough game. They were without Caden Wold, which is one of their best perimeter players. And we were without Logan Schwartz in the game. So both teams were missing a player. So it should be nice having, both teams having those kids back. I expect it to be a dogfight here tonight. It's going to be a physical, strong game.
Well, as you mentioned, the first time these two teams met, that was back on December 12th. The Vikings did come out on top, but it was only a 3-point win. What do you look for that might be different in tonight's outing?
I would like to try to keep it maybe a little lower scoring. We ended up winning 65-62, so I think, personally, I think the first team to about 52 points wins the game. So we'll see if that reads true or not, but I would like to make it a little bit more of a defensive game and not just make it only offense.
Well, Coach Knoll, good luck on tonight's game. I guess the race to 52 is on, and hopefully the Vikings can continue to build their game in preparation for those WIA playoffs that are just around the corner.
Thank you. Go Vikings.
You've been listening to Coach's Corner, where they look at tonight's game from the coach's point of view. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Welcome back to Viking Pregame as we're getting ready to bring you tonight's Dunn St. Croix Conference game pitting the Colfax Vikings against the Boyceville Bulldogs. Now before we get into tonight's game, it would be a good idea to take a look around the Dunn St. Croix Conference to see where things stand. Now last Thursday, the Dunn St. Croix had a complete set of games played. That would include the Colfax Vikings being defeated by the Durand, Arkansas Panthers 55-45, while the Elk Mound Mounders topped the Mondovi Buffaloes 62-19. The Boyceville Bulldogs were defeated by the Spring Valley Cardinals 55-37, and the Glenwood City Hilltoppers squeaked by the Elmwood Plum City Wolves 43-42. Then on Friday, the Mondovi Buffaloes stepped out of conference play to face the Baldwin Woodville Blackhawks, with the Blackhawks coming out on top 62-47. Now going into tonight's games, the Dunn St. Croix Conference standings are as follows. In first place, with an 8-0 record, are the Durand, Arkansas Panthers. The Spring Valley Cardinals are one game back in second place with a 7-1 record. In third place at 7-2 and 1.5 games behind are the Elk Mound Mounders. In a fourth place tie are the Colfax Vikings and the Glenwood City Hilltoppers with 3-5 records and 5 games behind the leaders. In sixth place, we find the Boyceville Bulldogs at 3-6 and 5.5 games back. And tied for seventh place at 1-7 and 7 games out are the Mondovi Buffaloes along with the Elmwood Plum City Wolves. Now tonight, the Dunn St. Croix Conference has a full slate of conference action. Now, in addition to the Vikings taking on the Boyceville Bulldogs in Colfax, the Elk Mound Mounders are set to do battle with the Durand, Arkansas Panthers, and that'll be in Elk Mound, while the Glenwood City Hilltoppers will play host to the Spring Valley Cardinals, and the Mondovi Buffaloes will travel to the Elmwood Plum City Wolves in Elmwood. Now tonight, the Vikings will try to regroup all their skills together following their tightly fought battle against the Durand, Arkansas Panthers. Now earlier this season, the Vikings topped the Bulldogs in Boyceville 65-62 back on December 12th. The Vikings would very much like to get out the brooms and sweep the season series with the Bulldogs. Now the Bulldogs, on the other hand, would like to make up the 3 points they lost to the Vikings by in December and gain a split with the Vikings. So the stage is set for some exciting boys high school basketball, and we'll have all the action for you right here on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Now in just a moment, we'll send it out to our broadcast crew at Colfax High School as we bring you all the action of tonight's Dunn St. Croix Conference battle between the Colfax Vikings and the Boyceville Bulldogs. That's all coming up next. You've been tuned to Viking Pregame on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
You know you don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because
I felt like a failure.
and then I realized there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
You've been tuned to Viking Pregame with a look at today's Colfax Viking Boys game. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. Stay tuned, coming up next is live Colfax Viking basketball. It happens to everyone eventually. Your computer goes on the fritz. Fear not, Slayton's Technology Services can help. When your computer decides to not cooperate, it can be very frustrating. Let Slayton's Technology Services keep you from wanting to drive your computer right off a cliff. Slayton's Technology Services supports business of all sizes. They offer assistance with managed anti-malware, encrypted email, fast tech support, data backup, and recovery, and more. Call Slayton's Technology Services at 715-864-2833 and get the IT help you desire. Slayton's Technology Services is the official IT service for the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
In November of 2018, our daughter Jana passed away. The outpouring of support was unbelievable. Support that we received inspired us to start a foundation called the Jana Kelly Memorial Foundation. And through that foundation,
we've given back in a lot of different ways, through projects, through different other charities that we've supported. We like to help Humane Association, and the Ronald McDonald House is something that's very near and dear to us. We've also recently, this last year, we actually built a tiny house. It's really exciting to be able to give back in different ways.
To learn more or to help financially, would find us on Facebook or www.janakelly.com.
Colfax Viking Boys Basketball is on the air.
He'll pass it out to Blake Johnson. He'll take the shot for three. Vikings.
The Northern Light Webcasting Network, along with NLWN2, is excited to bring you Colfax High School Boys Basketball.
Springer down inside to Hoffman. He'll drive the right side of the lane, pop it up from 6. Good.
Join us as we follow the Vikings while they battle their way through the Dunn St. Croix Conference.
Charlo out to Ensminger for 3. He hits it!
And now out to the gym for today's Colfax Viking basketball.
Good evening. Welcome to Colfax High School for Dunn St. Croix Conference Boys Basketball. Tonight, the Vikings host the Boyceville Bulldogs. Bulldogs come in with a 9-9 overall season record. They are 6th in the Dunn St. Croix at 3 wins and 6 losses. The Vikings, 6 wins and 11 losses so far on varsity level. They are in a tie for 4th place in the conference with the record of 3-5. Tonight's Colfax Viking basketball game is brought to you by the Colfax Animal Hospital. Let doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their friendly staff take care of your pet. C&K Construction, your concrete experts for the Chippewa Valley. Dairy State Bank, where they're banking on relationships. Midwest Environmental Consultants, soil testers for Western Wisconsin. Anderson Bridges, who've been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. Slayton's Technology, IT provider for the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Menominee Eye and Optical, with quality, personalized care for you and your family. And Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax, comfort food the way Mom used to make it. Be sure to thank these fine sponsors for bringing you Colfax Viking Basketball and the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. So, Dan, both these teams, other than maybe a little gap in the overall records, seem to be holding their own in the middle of the conference. Some other games going on around the Dunn St. Croix tonight. Durand, Arkansas is at Elk Mound for the showdown. 4-0 in the conference. Durand, Arkansas. And Elk Mound is 4-1. Mondovi faces off with Plum City Elmwood. Mondovi is 1-3, while Plum City Elmwood winless in 4 conference outings. That game will be played at Ellsworth. And then the undefeated Spring Valley Cardinals in the conference, the opponent for the Colfax boys on Friday night, are playing tonight at Glenwood City with a 2-2 conference mark. We'll be back with more of our pregame. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Dairy State Bank encourages you to save smarter for your retirement by maximizing possible tax advantages. We offer traditional, Roth, and rollover IRAs with a wide variety of investment options. It's not too late to invest up to $6,500 of possible tax-deferred earnings into an IRA for 2023 tax purposes, or $7,500 if you're 50 or better. Call or stop by for more information. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
Are your animals feeling a little under the weather? Give the nice folks at Colfax Animal Hospital a call. Austin and Nikki Pritchard are just what the doctor ordered. In fact, they are the doctors and they're ready to help. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Give them a call at 715-962-3380.
Taking a look at the games coming into this one, Boyceville kind of up and down. Thursday night they lost to Spring Valley 55-37. Beat Oliva Strum last Monday 64-39. Lost to Durand, Arkansas 77-49. A week ago Friday, and on January 16th, down the Mondovi Buffaloes by a score of 59-31. Colfax looking to break a 2-game losing streak in this one. They fell to Durand, Arkansas by 10 on Thursday night. And then a week ago Monday lost Eau Claire Regis 59-50. But they won both of their conference games the week before, Friday night beating Mondovi 68-52 and Glenwood City by a score of 65-50. Taking a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game, and we'll also get them from the sideline, but we can get you some more detail. For the Boyceville Bulldogs, starting at guard, a 5'10 sophomore, number 1, Carson Remhild. Another guard, 5'8 senior, number 4, Nick Olson. Also, 6-foot guard senior, number 10, Caden Wold. Devin Halama, 6'2 senior guard, number 22. And Braden Remhild, a 5'6 senior, wearing number 24. So all listed as guards, the starters for the Boyceville Bulldogs for tonight. For the Colfax Vikings, same starting group, 5'11 junior guard, number 4, Aiden Fisher. 5'9 senior guard, number 10, Elijah Ensminger. 5'10 senior guard, Mason Yarrington. Number 15, and Blake Johnson, 6-foot senior guard, number 23, and Eli Ralph, 6'3 senior forward, number 33. Both teams to the side here. We got the pep band playing the school song, and we will send it to the sideline just a little bit. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2.
Will everyone remain standing if able? Remove your hats and place your hand over your heart onto the flag. as the national anthem is sung by a Colfax High School student, Adrian Beebe.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to Colfax High School for tonight's St. Croix boys basketball matchup between the Boyceville Bulldogs and your Colfax Vikings. Introducing the starters for the Bulldogs. Number 1, sophomore Carson Romill. Number 4, senior Nick Olson. Number 11, senior Caden Wool. Number 22, senior Devin Hahn. And number 24, senior Braden Romill. The Bulldogs are led by head coach Colby Dotson. And now the starting lineup for your Colfax Vikings.
So the Vikings in home white with red numerals and trim, and the Boyceville Bulldogs in black and purple with white numerals. Colfax, of course, in the first half will be going from left to right as we look on. Good evening, welcome. I'm Jay Fall here with Dan Petshaw, our camera operator Chris Olson, and executive producer Rick Olson. We're coming to you live from Colfax High School on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2 and Viking TV. Ready to get underway. Ball goes up and it's batted deeply into the Boyceville backcourt. Nick Olson will bring it out for Boyceville. Olson goes to Remhild and to Caden Wool, top of the key. He'll flip a pass quick to Braden Remhold. Over to Olson, trying to get it back inside to Carson Remhold. And we'll have a violation on the Bulldogs, and Colfax gets the ball back to get started here in the first half. 18 seconds gone, no score yet. Elijah Ensminger will bring it out of the backcourt, fires it over to Yarrington. Yarrington up on the left side, over in the corner to Ensminger for three! Vikings take an early lead, 3-0. As Nick Olson fires a pass over to Caden Wold. Back over to Carson Remhild. And ball stolen away. Ensminger comes up with it. Ensminger One-handed pass over to Fisher to Yarrington, coming up from the corner. Back out to Ensminger. Now the pass goes free throw line right to Fisher, and Fisher gets an alley-oop pass from Yarrington, doesn't make it, but Ralph comes flying in there, tries the reload, and it doesn't go. It's pulled down by Wold for the Bulldogs. He'll take it over on the right side to Halama, back to Carson Remhild. Olsen near corner looks, goes back to Carson Remhild. Back out to Brendan. Remhild, free throw line left. Colfax in a man-to-man on the Bulldogs. Pass goes back out on top to Brandon Remhild. He'll scoop pass it to Carson. Up at the top, Nick Olsen looks at one, drives in, puts it up and in. 3-2 Colfax, just out in front of Boyceville. 16 minutes remaining. First half is Elijah Ensminger. Fires off to Aiden Fisher. Free throw line right, back to Ensminger in the corner. Middle, and then dumped off to Ralph, and Ralph puts in a layup on the right side. Colfax leads Boyceville 5-2, 15:50 left to go here in the first half as Carson Remhild brings it up. Remhild up to Caden Wold. Wold fires off to Nick Olsen. Back to Wold. Olsen back and forth. Now up at the top of the key, a pass goes to Braden Remhild. Back out to Nick Olsen, takes a three-pointer, and it's good. We're tied at 5 at 15:25 to go in the first.
What a shot. Banked it. Crazy angle for the three.
Yarrington. Give and go out to Fisher. Back to Yarrington. Near corner. Goes cross court. Free throw line extended to Ensminger. He'll dribble in a little bit. Goes back out to Olsen. Olsen out to Ensminger. Down in the corner to Fisher. And Ensminger for threes. Drains it. 8-5 Colfax. 14:48 left to go in the first half. And Carson Remhild has a ball stolen by Elijah Ensminger. All by himself, going to the other end, lays it in for two. 10-5 Vikings, 14 and a half minutes to go. First half. Down in the far corner goes to Braden Remhild. Back out to Olsen. And three-point attempt. Halama is good. 10-8. Colfax leads Boyceville. Ensminger to Fisher, free throw line right. Bounce it back in the corner. Ralph waiting to go inside. Back out to Fisher. And they'll keep it on the right side while Ensminger directs traffic. Fires it over to Yarrington. Free throw line left. Back in the middle to Ensminger to Fisher. Colfax being patient here as Boyceville playing a 2-3 zone. Ensminger up from 10. Missed. Rebounded by Carson Remhild. Carson brings the ball up for Boyceville. Drives the baseline. Bounces a pass off on the left side to Devin Halama. And we're tied again. 10-all. 13 and a half minutes remaining here in the first. Fisher to Ralph from Ensminger, down inside to Johnson. Ball gets loose. Colfax comes up with it. That's Carson Remhild. Carson Remhild to Halama. Halama outside the arch. One-handed pass, cross court to Braden Remhild. And back in the middle to Olsen to set things up for the Bulldogs. Approaching the 13-minute mark remaining first half. As Wool drives in, then back across left side to Nick Olsen. Olsen doubled up on, loses the ball. Colfax will get it back. 12:52 left to go. First half. Elijah Ensminger has 8 of Colfax's 10 points. Now checking into the game for Colfax, Logan Schwartz. For Eli Ralph. And it looks like Owen Rydell for Braden Remhild. Pass goes to Fisher. Free throw line right. Fisher to Yarrington between the circle and the key. Harrington bounces it back to Orion Nichols, back out in the corner. Fisher, three-pointer missed. Stepping in to get the rebound, Caden Wold. Wold quickly up the floor, feeds an outlet pass into Wold. Back out on top to Owen Waridell. And he'll dump it out in the corner to Halama, and he'll swish in the three-pointer on the near side. And Boyceville takes their first lead of the night, 13-10, 12-13 to go in the first. And Yarrington out to Ensminger. Back to Yarrington in the middle. He'll bounce it to Fisher. Then head toward the corner. Cross court deflected. Ensminger gets it though. Drives the lane. Stops. Goes up from 5. Good. Boyceville's lead cut to 1. 13-12 Bulldogs. As Halama, free throw line left. Out to Nick Olson. Nick Olson between the jump circle and the key. Fires over to Carson Remheld. Back into Olson. Olson, a little ball handling trouble. Manages to keep the dribble going over to Rydell. Rydell to Olson. Dumps it inside. Halama looks at the baseline. Back up to Olson. Cross court in and back over to Carson Remheld. Boyceville getting some quick passes in there. As it's Wold going in, and he's fouled on the way in by Colfax's Orion Nichols. That is the first foul of the first half. And so tossing it in bounds will be Nick Olson. He'll flip it into Wold. Wold back out to Riddell. Rydell drives the baseline, stops, tips a bit, gives it to Peter Wielden now in the ball game. Back out to Nick Olson. Olson drives in, pops it up, doesn't go. Nice rebound by Logan Schwartz. Pulls it off the boards. Yarrington up the floor to Ensminger. Ensminger back up to Fisher. Back to Ensminger. Ensminger from 15 around the rim out, tip back out to Caden Wold. Wold will try to slow it down for the Bulldogs. Over to Halama. Halama drives in off the glass. Shot short. Rebounded by Orion Nichols. Ensminger driving. Pops it up from 5. Rolls out. Ensminger reload. That one doesn't go. Trying to tip it back in again. And he is going to be called for a foul underneath there on his rebound attempts. 10:17 to go, first half. Boyceville 13, Colfax 12. Braden Remhild with a pass to Wold. And from the free throw line, too hard, missed, rebounded by Fisher for Colfax. Fisher driving up the floor. Fisher to Ensminger, free throw line left. Ensminger dishes it off to Fisher. They keep it over on the left. Boyceville still in that 2-3. Yarrington looks at a 3-ball, fires to Ensminger. Ensminger back out to Yarrington, left open, 3-point shot. Rolls off, no good. Schwartz reload, fouled on the way up. That foul's going to be charged to Peter Wielden. And that is going to send Logan Schwartz to the line for 2 free throws. Join NLWN TV along with the Northern Light Webcasting Network Thursday night as the Viking girls will travel to Elk Mound to take on the undefeated and St. Croix leading Elk Mound Mounders. First free throw missed. Live coverage will begin with Viking pregame beginning at 6:40. That's followed by all the play-by-play action. Colfax girls at Elk Mound Thursday night on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN TV. That one bangs around the sides and doesn't go in either. Up at the top of the key, Owen Rydell looking for someone to fire to. He'll go out to Caden Wold. Wold up for 3. Bounces off, rebounded by Aiden Fisher for the Vikings. Fisher across the timeline, fires to Ensminger. Ensminger for 3. Up off the top, grabbing it is Ryan Nichols. It's going to be jump ball and possession, Colfax. 9:05 left in the first half. It's Boyceville 13, Colfax 12. Next week is Winter Carnival Week at Colfax High School with many activities throughout Winter Carnival Week. Ryan Nichols is going to throw it in, tosses a very high pass out to Aiden Fisher. Fisher will back it off to the center jump circle. Fisher tries to go up. It's knocked away, and at last went out of bounds. They set off Aiden. So Caden Wold will bounce it into Braden Remhild. Braden Remhild stops at the top of the key, flips it back to Carson Remhild. Carson to Wold. Wold goes to the opposite side, out on top, left open is Owen Riddell. He puts in a layup on the left side, and Boyceville would like a timeout. 8:36 left, first half. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
When you have that craving for a home-cooked meal the way Mom used to make it, rest assured, you can still get that meal by going to Mom's Restaurant and Pub in Colfax. Mom's is open daily, serving breakfast and lunch, and don't forget dinner on Friday nights with Mom's famous fish fry. The coffee is always hot, the breakfast is always delicious, and lunch will put a smile on your face and in your stomach. 225 Bremer Avenue, Colfax. Call 715-962-4617. That's Mom's Restaurant and Pub.
Join us on NLWN2 along with the Northern Light Webcasting Network this Friday, February 2nd, as the Viking boys will visit Spring Valley to face the Cardinals in the Dunn St. Croix Conference matchup. Live coverage will begin with Viking pregame at 6:40. And that will be followed by all the live play-by-play action. That's Colfax Boys Basketball this Friday at Spring Valley on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2. 8:36 remaining first half. Boyceville Bulldogs 15. Colfax Vikings 12. Vikings bring the ball up the floor. Mason Yarrington flips it over to Blake Johnson. Johnson, free throw line right. Johnson drives to the left side of the arch, dumps it down to the corner to Fisher. Back to Johnson. Johnson to Yarrington. Yarrington up high on the left side. Bounces it into Ralph. Ralph down to Nichols. Nichols trying to go in and has some ball handling trouble. We're going to have a jump ball. And this one's possession. Boyceville. And change it on the scoreboard, but it is going to Boyceville since Colfax had the last one. Approaching 8 minutes remaining first half. Boyceville by 3 over Colfax. Carson Remhild. Remhild out to Wold. They fire it inside to Peter Wielden. Wielden can't get the ball up there. It's stolen away by Nichols. Nichols to Johnson. Johnson short on the layup. Loose ball pulled out by Carson Remhild of the Bulldogs. Carson Remhild to Raydell. Up on top to Braden Remhild. Over on the far left side to Carson. Carson takes a three-point shot and hammers it down. 18-12 Boyceville. A 6-point Bulldog lead. Blake Johnson give and go to Mason Yarrington. Yarrington to Johnson. Johnson, one-handed pass in the corner. Fisher for 3. Around the rim a lot, and it was last. Went off Ryan Nichols, so that's going back to the Bulldogs. .6:58 left to go first half. Boyceville 18, Colfax 12. Coming down the floor with a Caden Wold, puts it up on the free throw line. Shot bounces around, no good. Rebounded by Nate Edwards. Or sorry, that's Eli Ralph. Yarrington, three-pointer. Catches the side iron, bounces off big. Peter Wielden comes up with the ball for the Vikings, and Carson Remhild passes it to Wold. Back to Wielden and Wold. Wold around the left side, fires a pass to Rydell. Rydell up on the baseline, forces a shot, coming up with a rebound. Carson Remhild. Remhild to Wold. Back out to Rydell. Now back free throw line left, Remhild, Carson. To Riddell. Riddell stops free throw line right, guarded very closely, and the ball's going to go out of bounds off Colfax. Boyceville will keep it on their end. 5:56 left to go first half. It's an 18-12 Boyceville lead over Colfax. High pass goes into Wielden. Wielden give and go out to Halama. Halama down to Nick Olson. Olson from the sideline, and it's missed. It's rebounded by Elijah Ensminger. Fired into Eli Ralph. Nice layup underneath. Colfax closes the gap. It's 18-14 Bulldogs. 5.5 minutes left here in the first half. Across the center jump circle, dribbling it. It is Carson Remhild. Back to Wold. He'll bounce it back to Carson. Carson up out on top to Olson. Olson. Back out to Riddell, and then flying in to put it up. Wold can't put the ball up. He'll pass it back out on top to Olson. And they make a pass attempt to Peter Wielden, and he didn't get there. Ball went out of bounds. It is going back to the Vikings. Inside 5 minutes to go, first half. Blake Johnson to Mason Yarrington. Johnson and Yarrington back and forth. He'll take it around the left side. Yarrington out to Johnson. Johnson looks, give it to Ensminger. Looking down underneath to see if Fisher can get open. Fisher gets the pass down in the corner. Fisher back out to Johnson. Dumps it off to Ensminger. Ensminger looking for Ralph. Ensminger's shot, no good. Rebounded by Caden Wold of the Bulldogs. Olson to Wold. Down underneath to Halama. Halama turned around on the baseline, missed, and it is pulled down by Aiden Fisher. Fisher to Johnson. Johnson fires to Fisher in the corner, down underneath to Ralph. Ralph trying to ditch it back to Ensminger, and it's picked off by Carson Remhild. Remhild across the timeline, being guarded by Ensminger, fires off to Olson. Olson up on top to Devin Halama. Bounces it off to Caden Wold. Wold up for a 15-footer, missed, rebounded by Elijah Ensminger. Out to Fisher, to Johnson for three. Catches the side of the iron, no good. Rebounded by Boyceville's Devin Halama. Carson Remhild will end up bringing it back. And he is dribbling it nice and easy out at the edge of the jump circle. Now he drives the lane, dishes it back to Halama, and then out to Olson. Olson in the lane, turnaround jumper from 12, short, rebounded by Ensminger. Ensminger, top of the wheel, off to Fisher for three, good! Aiden Fisher, and the Vikings pulled to within one. It's 18-17 Boyceville. 2:35 remaining. Carson Remhild holds it, free throw line left, out to Wold. Wold guarded by Yarrington, back to Carson Remhild. Back up to Olson, to Halama. Halama, and a pass gets back inside to Nick Olson from Halama, and Bulldogs go up by 3. 2 minutes left in the first half. Blake Johnson up high in the left wing, fires it down underneath to Eli Ralph, and Ralph is fouled on the way up. That's going to be charged to Peter Wielden of the Bulldogs. Pretty clean half, 2 fouls apiece for each team. That's the first foul for Wielden, and that was not in the act of shooting, so Blake Johnson's going to throw it in. Johnson out on top to Aiden Fisher, and he'll take it from 20. No good. Rebounded by Nick Olson. Nick Olson in the middle, fires off to the left to Owen Riddell, down in the corner to Devin Halama. Trying to go up. It'll go back to Halama from John Madison. Missed. Rebounded by Ensminger. It rolls off his foot, and picking it up is Fisher to Johnson. Johnson up on the left side. Back to Aiden Fisher down near the far corner. Back to Fisher. 1:20 remains, first half. Back to Fisher. Boyceville by 3. Give and go to Nichols. Ensminger from 20. Drains it, and we're tied. 20 all, 1:05 to go, first half. So it is Nick Olson. Olson out to Halama. And Halama's shot missed. Rebounded by Fisher. Down to Johnson. Back out to Ensminger. Ensminger goes up, puts it in. Colfax takes the lead back at 22-20. 31 seconds to go, first half. Nick Olson across the timeline. Pass to Caden Wold, out on top to Owen Riddell. Riddell back to Wold, and pass is tipped by Aiden Fisher out of bounds in front of the Colfax bench. 9.3 seconds remains in the first half. It's Colfax 22, Boyceville 20. And pass deflected, but coming up with it is Nick Olson. Stolen away by Logan Schwartz. And taking the three-pointer. Swish on the buzzer. What a shot by Blake Johnson. And that puts the Vikings up by 5 at halftime. It's Colfax 25, Boyceville 20. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2, and Viking TV.
If your estate isn't looking quite estate-like, let Midwest Environmental Consultants landscape your estate right up to snuff with installation of retaining walls, brick patios, foundation planting beds, and so much more. Then they'll keep it that way with their expert lawn care service. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants help make your estate the showplace of the neighborhood.
Anderson Bridges, located in Colfax, Wisconsin, has been manufacturing prefabricated steel truss bridges since 1989. With hundreds of bridges supplied nationwide, we suspect you've crossed our path. It may have been on a pedestrian or bicycle bridge, or how about a snowmobile, ATV, or golf course bridge? Anderson Bridges is likely to have manufactured it. Founded in 1989, Anderson Bridges has been a family-owned company since its beginning and are proud to support the Colfax Vikings.
Time now for Viking Halftime, with today's Viking profile and other halftime entertainment. That's coming up right after this.
Hey, boss. Okay?
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it.
You can talk to me.
It's been really hard for me.
Time now for Viking Profile, where we take a closer look at one of the Colfax Viking players. And now, Viking Profile.
Today on Viking Profile, we're going to get to know Mason Yarrington, who's a senior here at Colfax High School. Mason, we know that you play basketball, but are you involved in any other activities here at school?
I play baseball, and I'm in NHS.
Okay, keeps you kind of busy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you start playing basketball, and what kind of an experience has that been for you?
Probably started playing in 3rd grade, and I just enjoy playing basketball with my friends. That's why I keep doing it.
All right, now what's the most important thing that you've learned playing basketball?
You got to be mentally tough. You can't let little things affect you. Just got to push through it.
Yeah. And get those behind you, and short memory, they say.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're not playing basketball or you're not here at school, what are some other things that keep you interested or occupied?
I like to watch sports, play video games, go fishing, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, all right, here's the famous rapid fire questions. Pie, ice cream, cake, or cookies?
Pie.
Which kind?
Apple. My grandma's apple pie.
Oh, okay. She makes you some. You make sure you bring some along one of these days, all right? Hot dog, burger, or brats?
Burger.
What do you want on that burger?
Cheese, onions, and some ketchup.
All right, that sounds like a good burger. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Any reason for it?
I liked it when I was little.
Hey, that's as good a reason as any. If you could have a superpower, what do you think that might be?
Invisibility.
Why would that be?
I don't know. It just seems like it'd be cool.
It'd be cool. Okay. Now, if you have the power of invisibility, of course you have to have a superhero name to go with it. So what's Mason's superhero name?
I'll be the Slim Reaper.
The Slim Reaper. Oh, I like that one. All right. Favorite NBA team?
The Bucks.
Favorite collegiate team?
Badgers.
All right. Is there a basketball player at any level who has influenced the way you play the game?
Probably Steph Curry.
Okay. And what about Steph Curry's game has rubbed off on you?
Shoot threes.
Shoot threes, okay. We're talking with Mason Yarrington today on Viking Profile. And Mason, what are your plans for after high school?
I plan to go to college.
Do you know where?
Between La Crosse and Michigan right now.
Okay. Thinking about being a Wolverine, huh?
Yeah, might be.
Okay. And how about a shout out to the family?
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, Grandma. Hi, Grandpa. Hope you're enjoying it.
Now, when people watch Viking games, what number do you wear, and where are they going to find you on the floor?
I'll be number 15, and I'll play a little bit of everywhere.
Okay, very good. We want to thank Mason Yarrington for joining us today on Viking Profile. Coming up next, more Viking Halftime.
You've been listening to Viking Profile. This has been a presentation of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.
Eva Marie smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
When I was 10, my mom got deported. We had a difficult time, and I feel that's why I didn't get to finish school. My husband is really supportive in a way that he pushed me to go back to school.
She wants to have a career so her kids can look up to her.
They both keep me motivated to go to school, and they see that if I do it, like, they can do it too, you know? I feel that everything's possible.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
You've been tuned to Viking Halftime. Stay tuned. Coming up is second half action of today's game on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN2.
What are you doing in there?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Welcome back to Colfax Halftime. Colfax 25, Boyceville 20. Dan, details on the numbers.
Yeah, here's the scores right now for the Bulldogs. They are led by, sorry about that. They're led by number 22, Devin Halama. He has 8. Carson Roma has 6. Nick Olson has 4. And Owen Rydell has 2. For the Colfax Vikings, they're right now by number 10, Elijah Ensminger. He has 15 points. We have Eli Ralph with 4. Blake Johnson has 3, and Aiden Fisher has 3. 25-20, Colfax leads.
So more Colfax basketball coming up this week. Thursday night, the Lady Vikings go to Elk Mound to face the conference leading Mounders. And Friday night, the boys will travel to Spring Valley to take on the Cardinals, also one of the conference leaders. Pre-game shows for both of those get underway at 6:40 with Viking pregame followed by live play-by-play action on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. The boys on NLWN2, the girls on NLWN TV. And here we go. Going the other way now this time, Ensminger across the timeline. Colfax starting with a 5-point lead at the half. Up high, it's Fisher near the mid-stripe. He stops at the free throw line, trying to get rid of it. Goes off the back of one of the Bulldogs. Remhild misses a layup, or that's actually Nick Olson that misses the layup, and Colfax brings it back up. It's Fisher. Or that's Ensminger over on the far side. Back to Fisher here on the near side. Fisher to Yerington. Scoop pass out to Eli Ralph. And top of the key, it is, or free throw line right, it's Fisher with a 3-point shot. Rolls off, no good. And it will go to the Bulldogs. No score yet here in the second half. 25-20, Colfax with the lead. 17-11 left.
Eli Ralph on the foul for Colfax. His first.
It's only his first of the night. Top of the key, the shot to Caden Wold. Missed, rebounded by Ensminger for the Vikings. Ensminger across the timeline. Into the center, into Fisher. Fisher up from 13, missed. Loose ball, picked up by Caden Wold of the Bulldogs. Wold to Braden Remhild. Down underneath to the big man. That's Devin Halama, and he misses. Ensminger back and forth with Fisher. Give and go to Yerington for 3. Swishes it. Colfax up by 8. It's 28-20. For the Bulldogs, Braden Remhild down the left corner of the lane. Passes over to Wold. Back to Braden Remhild. Fires off in the corner. Nick Olson looks at a 3, won't take it. Comes out of there, gets inside the arch, and will toss it back to Carson Remhild. Back out to Braden Remhild. Braden Remhild doubled up on. Out to Caden Wold. Back out on top to Carson Remhild. Fires off in the corner. Shot by Nick Olson. Good for 3. 10 points for Olson. 15 and a half minutes remaining. Second half. It's Colfax 28, Boyceville 23. Pass out on top to Yarrington. Bounces off big, and Ralph trying to seal the ball away. He does. Gets it to Aiden Fisher. Fisher with a layup on the left side. Colfax by 7 over Boyceville. 30-23, 15:08 to go here in the second half. Braden Remhild to Carson Remhild to Nick Olson. Olson driving in left side. Makes the basket. And draws a foul, so he'll get a free throw. .25, that is the second foul of the game on Eli Ralph. That'll put Nick Olson on the line for Boyceville. Next week is Winter Carnival week at Colfax High School. Many activities planned throughout the week. First free throw, or only free throw, is good. And it is now a 4-point Colfax lead, 14:53 to go, second half. Ansminger tosses it to Fisher. Fisher to Johnson. Back to Fisher to Johnson. Fisher will head toward the corner. Johnson one-handed pass to Yarrington. He'll look at a three-pointer. Bounce it into Ensminger. Ensminger up from 13. Rolls off. No good. Ralph reload. Good. Colfax 32. Boyceville 26. 14:18 left. Second half. With the ball, it's Nick Olson. Olson out to Riddell. Back out to Wold. Wold back in the corner to Riddell. Shot missed. Trying to save it as Carson Remhild gets it into Caden Wold. Now back inside to Caden Wold. He'll go up. Missed and rebounded by Blake Johnson. Johnson finds Fisher. Fisher free throw line left. Johnson, sorry. Johnson up high on the left side to Fisher. Ralph on the baseline waiting. Out on top, Ensminger. Back to Johnson. 13 and a half minutes left. Second half. Back to Yarrington. He's between the jump circle and the key. Out to Ensminger. To Johnson. And the Vikings being quite patient. Still working with the Boyceville 2-3 zone. Ensminger up from 8. Falls to the floor, no good, and it's rebounded by Caden Wold. Wold up the floor, feeds Owen Riddell, missed, and coming up with it, Ensminger. Ensminger out in the corner to Fisher. Fisher driving in, tangled up by Boyceville's Peter Wielden. Jump ball, it will be possession Bulldogs. And we have a timeout on the floor. 12:56 remaining, second half. You're watching Colfax Viking Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
C&K Construction is your source for high-quality concrete and construction work in the Chippewa Valley. Established in 2014, C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls is a leading concrete contractor proud to serve Eau Claire, Altoona, Menominee, and surrounding areas. Specializing in concrete construction, excavating, flatwork poured walls, and much more, they're right for all of your concrete needs. Call C&K Construction in Chippewa Falls at 715-559-1335.
12:56 remaining, second half. Colfax 32, Boyceville 26, Dunn St. Croix Conference action. Boyceville's going to throw it in off the timeout. Nick Olson finds Carson Remhild. Carson Remhild fires it off to his left to Owen Riddell. Riddell down to Carson Remhild. Back out left wing to Wold. Dribbles it a bit. Riddell, far corner. Back and forth with Wold. Outlet pass into Wielden. Wielden caught in the lane. Will have to toss it out to Riddell. Stolen away by Ensminger. Layup. Good. 34-26 Vikings. 12:10 to go, second half. Across the timeline, Nick Olson has to stop his dribble off to Riddell. Riddell gets a pass into Carson Remhild. He'll toss it way out to Wold. Back down in the opposite corner to Nick Olson. Inside to Wielden. Wielden waits, feeds Owen Riddell, and he makes a layup. And we have a 34-28 lead for Colfax. 11:45 to go, second half. Officials bring the ball back. Colfax will bring it out. Fisher to Ensminger. Ensminger out to Fisher to Yarrington. Yarrington high up on top. Will bounce it to Ensminger. Ensminger dribbles around the screen set by Yarrington. Fires it into Johnson. Johnson up, missed, reload. Good by Fisher, and I think he's fouled on the way in. He is. He's going to get one free throw. That foul is going to be charged on Carson Remhild. That's his first of the game. So Aiden Fisher to try to finish off a three-point play and give the Colfax Vikings a 9-point lead in this ball game. And he does. 37-28 Colfax. Remhild across the center jump circle. Carson Remhild. Off on the left to Wold. Wold into Wielden. Wielden goes up. He's fouled from behind. That's going to be charged to Blake Johnson. That's the third Colfax foul of the second half, and that's Blake Johnson's first. Since puts Peter Wielden on the line for the Boyceville Bulldogs. Wielden, first shot, no good. Exactly 11 minutes to go in the ball game. It's Colfax 37, Boyceville 28. Colfax girls at Elk Mound Thursday night. Friday night, Colfax boys at Spring Valley. That one missed. Carson Remhild will come up with a rebound for the Bulldogs, keeping it on their end of the floor. Wold hits a three-pointer, and the gap cut to 6. Colfax lead. Ensminger and Fisher back and forth to bring it up the floor. Fisher bounces it to Ensminger for 3, drains it. And a timeout called by Colfax. And that's the 1,000 points for Elijah Ensminger. And that has, we've got 1,000-point signs in the gym, and Mark Knoll took that timeout to celebrate with the Viking faithful. And we will take a break. We'll be back with more Colfax Boyceville basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2, and Viking TV. So 1,000 points for Elijah Ensminger, just scored that.
Elijah's dedication and passion have set a standard for excellence, not just as a prolific scorer. Elijah has elevated the entire team with his competitive spirit. Thank you to Elijah's parents, Josh and Jess, and his entire family for their support of Elijah and Colfax basketball. Congratulations on this remarkable milestone, 1,000 points and counting. Let's give it up for Elijah.
10.5 minutes remain in tonight's game. Elijah Ensminger just scored his 1,000th point. A 9-point Colfax lead, 40-31. Boyceville will bring the ball up the floor. Goes to Nick Olson. To Wold on the right wing for the Bulldogs. Up to Devin, or that is Braden Remhild. Out in the corner to Owen Riddell, or check that was Nick Olson. And he knocks it into the commons. Elijah Ensminger goes to get it.
Scores 1,000 and he leaves the gym.
Yeah, he just had to have a break. Aiden Fisher driving in on the baseline. Fisher waits, pops it up, good! 10 minutes left in the ball game. Colfax by 11 over Boyceville. Up the floor, it goes out to Braden Remhild. Braden Remhild in the lane. Will bounce it back over to Nick Olson. Then back to Halama. Ball gets loose out there. And we're going to have a foul on Blake Johnson. That's his second. Colfax's fourth foul of the half. 9:43 left to go. Nick Olson gets the pass in for Boyceville. Nick Olson fires it inside to Braden. Halama having some trouble handling it there. Goes back to Wielden out in the corner. Three-pointer around the rim and out from Odin Raydell. And the Vikings have another shot at the top of the key. Three for Aiden Fisher. 45-31 Vikings. 9:10 left to go in tonight's game. Nick Olson, top of the key, goes up and a shot blocked by Schwartz, but it goes out of bounds off one of the Vikings. So Boyceville will have it underneath their own basket at the A in Colfax. And pass inbounds goes to John Madison. He sets a screen on. Waddell goes around him. Madison trying to save it from going out of bounds. It drops on the end line, and Colfax will have it back. Colfax leads Boyceville by 14, 8:50 left. Second half. Elijah Ensminger over on the far side. Give and go from Blake Johnson. Johnson back out to Ensminger. Ensminger, three-pointer short. Ball tipped out. It goes off of Schwartz, so the Bulldogs get it back. Braden Remhild fires a pass up to Nick Olson. Olson to Halama, down inside to 25. John Madison puts in the basket for his first points of the game. Three-pointer again. Fisher rolls out, rebounded by Owen Riddell. Riddell brings it up the floor for Boyceville. He'll flip it back to Halama. And then down inside to Madison. Out to Halama, heading toward the corner. He'll dish it back to Braden Remhild. Braden Remhild, top of the key. Top of the key out to Owen Riddell. Shot missed. Rebounded Nick Olson. That doesn't go. Rebounded by Ensminger for Colfax. Elijah Ensminger up high on the left side. Give and go out to Aiden Fisher. Back to Ensminger. Ensminger around the arch. Give and go to Nichols. Back to Fisher. Fisher for three. Ball tipped out. Bulldogs are going to come up with it. John Madison comes up with a loose ball for Boyceville. Approaching 7 minutes remaining in the second half. And a timeout called by Boyceville. 45-33. Colfax with the lead. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Are your pooch's proportions putting on pounds? Or is your kitty's constitution constantly complaining?
Well, stop by and see the friendly folks at the Colfax Animal Hospital. Doctors Austin and Nikki Pritchard and their staff will be happy to help you get your family friend back on the road to healthy living. That's the Colfax Animal Hospital. Call them at 715-962-3380.
Welcome back. More Colfax basketball this week on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Thursday night, girls are at Elk Mound. Friday night, boys are at Spring Valley. Viking pregame for both of those starts about 6:40. Live play-by-play following on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. Boys on NLWN2, girls on NLWN TV. Boyceville with the ball, free throw line left. It's Riddell from the free throw line. He'll fire a pass out to Carson Remhild. Back to Riddell. Stops corner of the lane, give and go to Wold. Outside to Carson Remhild now. And now Wold in the near corner. Ball tipped up by the Vikings. Orion Nichols tipped it, and Elijah Ensminger came up with it. 6.5 minutes to go. Fisher around the arch. Gets it to Johnson, back to Fisher in the near corner. Back and forth. Ensminger. Free throw line right. Ensminger for three. Shot missed, rebounded by Boyceville's Devin Halama. Halama brings it up the floor for Boyceville, and trying to knock away that pass was Fisher, but he knocked it right in the hands of Boyceville coach Colby Dotseth. Carson Remhild will throw it in to Caden Wold. Wold from the parking lot, good for three. 45-36. Colfax leading Boyceville. Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger top of the key. Fires it over to Fisher. It goes by him, but it's tipped by Carson Remhild. So Colfax keeps it. 9-point Viking lead, 5:42 to go, second half. Into Aiden Fisher. Fisher guarded by Carson Remhild. Fisher. And Aiden Fisher is going to be called for a player control foul. That is his first foul of the game. 5 for the Vikings. Couple to give yet before Boyceville's in the bonus. Boyceville has just one foul here in the second half. Driving the lane, Remhild, and what a block by Ensminger. Back out to Riddell, and a three-pointer misses everything, and coming up with it is Fisher. Ensminger manages to get the ball back to Fisher. Fisher across the timeline and wards off all the Bulldogs, and the Vikings will set it up. Give and go to Orion Nichols. Nichols going in, up and good. 47 Colfax, 36 Boyceville. 4:45 left to go in the game. Riddell bounces it to Carson Remhild, puts up the shot, missed. And we're going to have a foul charge to Orion Nichols. That's his second, and that is the sixth foul for Colfax this half. But it was in the act of shooting, so Carson Remhild is going to shoot a pair for the Bulldogs. Colfax girls at Elk Mound Thursday, boys Friday at Spring Valley. First free throw good. 6:40 pregame for both. Play-by-play follows on the Northern Light Webcasting Network. NLWN TV for the girls, NLWN 2 for the boys. And the second free throw good as well. Cuts the Viking lead to 9. Ensminger Up the floor for Colfax. Ensminger to Yarrington. Yarrington to Ralph. Ralph from 19 misses, rebounded by Boyceville's Owen Riddell. Halama up the floor, back to Olson, and saving it from going out of bounds is Fisher. Sends it right back to the Bulldogs. Carson Remhild now into Braden Remhild. He'll go up, shot missed. That's John Madison, by the way. And we're going to have a ball will go off of Colfax. Boyceville will keep it on their end. High pass goes into John Madison. Madison flips it to Carson Remhild. Shot missed, rolled off, but loose ball picked up by Carson Remhild. Back out to Nick Olson. Owen Riddell in the corner finds Devin Halama. Halama up, missed. Going up Madison, he'll send a pass out to Riddell. Boyceville has Nick Olson in the far corner. Olson to Remhild, into Madison. Madison is going up and in. 3:25 left in the game. Boyceville trails Colfax by 7, 47-40. Elijah Ensminger. And we're going to have a foul charge to Boyceville's Nick Olson. That's the second Boyceville foul of the second half. And the first foul of the game on Nick Olson. Into Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger back to Fisher. Fisher to Ensminger. Near wing. Ensminger makes a move from the free throw line, puts it up, missed, and stealing the ball out of there was Caden that was Devin Halama. Stole it right out of the grasp of Eli Ralph. And Ralph ended up fouling him in the process. That's his third, and that is now the 7th foul of the half for Colfax, putting Boyceville in the bonus. 47-40. Colfax with the lead. First free throw, good. 2:51 remains. Second half. It's 9 points so far for Devin Halama. That is still 9 as it's missed, and Ralph comes up with a rebound. Ensminger out of the backcourt. Bounces it to Fisher at the free throw line. Fisher going up. Can't get through there, and John Madison comes up with a loose ball for the Bulldogs. Nick Olson, near side. To Halama. Halama tries to get it inside. That pass knocked away by Johnson. Ralph picks it up, and a timeout called by Coach Mark Knoll. 2:14 left, second half. 47 Colfax, 41 Boyceville. You're watching Viking basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2 and Viking TV.
Let Menominee Eye and Optical help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comroe provide both comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract and LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eye care for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, located at 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality, personalized care for you and your family.
.214 remaining. Second half, Colfax with the ball. Inbounds pass from Johnson to Ensminger. Back to Johnson, front of the scorer's table. To Fisher in the middle, and we're going to have a foul on Carson Remhild of the Bulldogs. Boyceville's third foul of the half. That's Carson Remhild's second. just inside 2 minutes remaining in tonight's game. Colfax with a 6-point lead in the ball. And they find Mason Yarrington. He waits, goes in for the layup, misses it. Ralph on the reload, puts it up and in, and he is fouled on the way up. .49 Colfax, 41 Boyceville, 1:54 to go. Second half on the free throw line to try to finish off the three-point play is Eli Ralph, and he does. Boyceville with a 9-point lead, Colfax with a 9-point lead over Boyceville. 50-41 with the ball for the Bulldogs. Remhild, Braden. Out to Nick Olson, tries a three-pointer, missed. Rebounded by Blake Johnson. Johnson up the floor to Mason Yarrington. Scoops it back to Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger up high on the left side to Blake Johnson. Johnson out to Eli Ralph. Ralph goes up. And there will be a foul called on Peter Wielden, as he pretty much hung on Eli Ralph's arm.
Yeah,
but he did not get a shot off, so there's not going to be free throws. That's the fifth team foul for Boyceville here in the second half, as Blake Johnson fires a pass out to Elijah Ensminger. Goes into the backcourt, but it doesn't matter at this point since it didn't come from there. Ensminger out to Fisher, and Fisher fouled by Carson Remhild of the Bulldogs. That is the sixth foul for Boyceville, and that's Carson Remhild's third. There's a minute 14 left in tonight's game. Colfax has a 9-point lead, and they go to Elijah Ensminger. Ensminger to Blake Johnson, and with a hand on his side was Owen Riddell, and that is the seventh foul. That's going to put Blake Johnson on the free throw line for 1+1 with a minute 2 to go in the game. Owen Riddell coming out, Devin Halama coming in. And Johnson misses the free throw. Carson Remhild falling back. Does keep the ball, gets it to Braden Remhild. Down inside it goes to John Madison. Madison fall away shot missed. Rebounded by Mason Yarrington. And that foul is going to be charged to Devin Halama. That's his second, and that's the 8th foul of the half now by Boyceville. 50.2 seconds remaining in the game. Mason Yarrington on the free throw line for 1-1. First one, good. 10-point Colfax lead, 51-41. And second one good as well. 52-41. Boyceville brings the ball up the floor. Man-to-man defense yet by Colfax. Nick Olson over to Braden Remhild. Back inside to Halama. He puts in the layup on the left side, and it's a full timeout called by Boyceville. 35.9 seconds remain. Colfax 52, Boyceville 43. You're watching Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN2, and Viking TV.
Dairy State Bank encourages you to save smarter for your retirement by maximizing possible tax advantages. We offer traditional, Roth, and rollover IRAs with a wide variety of investment options. It's not too late to invest up to $6,500 of possible tax-deferred earnings into an IRA for 2023 tax purposes, or $7,500 if you're 50 or better. Call or stop by for more information. Dairy State Bank, banking on relationships. Member FDIC.
To get your lawn or garden to perform at attracting what you want, you first need to know what your soil is working with. That's where Midwest Environmental Consultants can help. Their soil testing service can give you a complete rundown on your soil's nutrition and health. They test for nitrogen levels, phosphorus, potash, micronutrients, minerals, pH, and organic matter. Let Midwest Environmental Consultants put you in control of your soil's health. Call Midwest Environmental Consultants at 608-468-2067. That's Midwest Environmental Consultants, serving western Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Colfax. Jay Fall here with Dan Petjaw, Chris Olson on the camera. Long pass up the floor to Elijah Ensigminger. He's too far underneath the basket. Executive producer Rick Olson here as well. Nick Olson with the ball up top for the Vikings. Carson Remhild out to Nick Olson. Olson for three, missed. Rebounded by John Madison. Madison shot missed. Blake Johnson and Braden Remhild tie it up. It's possession Colfax. 15 seconds left in the game. Colfax with a 9-point lead. Yarrington into Johnson. Back to Yarrington. Yarrington up the floor, and he's fouled on the way up by Braden Remhild. 11.6 seconds remaining. That's the 9th foul for Boyceville and the first foul on Braden Remhild. Mason Yarrington to shoot 1+1. First one missed, rebounded by Ralph. Ralph tied up with Boyceville's John Madison, who's going to end up getting himself a foul in that one, and Ralph's going to the free throw line as that's the 10th Boyceville foul and a double bonus. 8.8 seconds remaining in the game. On the free throw line, Eli Ralph. First free throw missed. Ralph with the second, sends that one skyward. That one's good. Makes the Colfax lead 10. Boyceville up the floor. It's Carson Remhild in the corner. That's going to be no good. And the Colfax Vikings hang on to defeat the Boyceville Bulldogs. The final score is 53-43. That makes Colfax's Dunn St. Croix record 4 wins and 5 losses. They are 7-11 on the season, while the Bulldogs fall to 3-7 in the league, and they are 9-10 on the season. We invite you now to stay tuned for Viking post game. We'll talk with Mark Knoll and run down the scoring. You're watching Colfax Vikings basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN 2, and Viking TV.
Let Menominee Eye and Optical help you see the world for the beautiful place it is. Doctors Nicholas and Marianne Comroe provide both comprehensive and emergency eye care for all, including pediatric and special needs patients. Whether it's examination for glasses to cataract and LASIK care, or diagnosis and management of macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and so much more. In addition, Menominee Eye and Optical's experienced opticians will help guide you to the highest quality eye care for the best value. That's Menominee Eye and Optical, located at 520 Wilson Avenue in Menominee, where they specialize in quality, personalized care for you and your family.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
You have been tuned to Colfax Viking Boys Basketball on the Northern Light Webcasting Network and NLWN 2. This copyrighted production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network and Colfax High School is intended for the enjoyment of the viewing and listening audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or reproduction in part or in whole in any form without the express written consent of the Northern Light Webcasting Network, LLC, and Colfax High School is prohibited. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Viking Postgame with a look back at today's game.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Time now for Viking postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. And now, Viking postgame.
Welcome back to Colfax. We have a special guest tonight on the post-game show. Elijah, if you want to grab that, congratulations, 1,000 points in your career here at Colfax.
Yep.
Thinking anything special as you were down there? Or?
No, just about winning the game. That's all that matters.
And like in many games tonight, you were all over the floor putting it in and leading the charge.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So,
just like normal.
So, what are you looking to going forward here now for the rest of the season?
Just keep playing hard, getting team wins, and it'll take us great places in this conference. And then once we hit playoff time, we'll make a run.
All right, sounds great. Elijah, thanks for coming up, and congratulations on 1,000 points in your career. And there we go. Actually, we probably should have had Mark just take over the interview.
More points than words. But that's okay.
No, quite a night.
Yeah, I'm happy for all the boys. You know what I mean? I'm obviously happy for Elijah to get his 1,000 points and to do it at home. We did not want to do it on the road. And something that I never said to him one time about. We never talked about it, but we both knew what was going on. But at the same time, it was awesome to have Ralph step up. It was awesome to have Mason step up tonight. It was awesome to see Orion step up. And Logan, all the guys made big plays. Blake hit that big three before halftime. Those are all big, huge plays. And those are, you never know what sparks the momentum in your favor. And I thought we had a lot of sparks tonight.
Yeah, and Boyceville hung right in there in the first part of the game. But what were some things that were making those special plays, the big plays, happen tonight for you?
Well, I think obviously on defense first, right? We held a solid team to 43 points. They lead the conference in rebounding, and I would think that we beat them tonight in rebounding, and that was the difference in the game. We didn't allow them to get many second chances. They had some more in the second half. But at the same time, I think overall, I think we might have won that battle tonight. And then I thought we did a great job of not turning the ball over. How many times did we really turn the ball over tonight? I guarantee it was less than 10. So when you take care of the ball, when you rebound, and you make open shots, good things are going to happen.
You bet. And you were able to control the pace of the game and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought we were able to control the pace. And Boyceville is super athletic. And it's nice to have the season sweep on them because they're in our regional as well. So that should help us with our seeding and all that stuff. So it was a big game. We have a 1-game lead on them in the standings, but really it's a 2-game lead because when you have the sweep. So and we have 4 games left, 5 games left, wherever the math is with conference games. So our goal is to get in the top 4. So we're in the top 4 right now. We want to stay there.
And, a win like this, too, will provide some momentum because your conference opponent at their place on Friday night, Spring Valley.
Yeah, they're tough. They're super well coached, obviously. You got a Hall of Fame coach there, and you've got some really good players, and they know their system. They're not gonna beat themselves, I can tell you that. So we have to play like we did tonight where it's flawless, where you take care of the ball, play great defense. And I thought our kids were locked in on defense. They were really locked in. There was very few times in the game where it was like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. Because we tell them we don't have time for that. We're at that point in the season where we don't have time for people that aren't locked in.
So, and they sure were tonight. Mark, thanks for coming up and talking with us. Congratulations on another win.
Again, thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it. Go Vikings.
All right. Mark Knoll, head coach of the Colfax Vikings. On our post-game show, let's take a look at the scoring. That's you.
Yeah, here's the scores tonight for the Bulldogs. They're led by number 4, Nick Olson. He had 13 points. Then we had Carson Romhild with 5. We had Caden Wool with 3. We had Owen Rydell with 4. We had Devin Halama with 11. We had John Madison with 4. And number 11, which was not on our sheet, but he had 3 points. For the Vikings, they're led tonight by Elijah Ensminger. He had 20 points. We had Aiden Fisher with 13. Eli Ralph had 10. We had Blake Johnson with 3. Ryan Nichols had 2. And Macy Arrington had 5. 53-43. Colfax gets the win.
So the final tonight, the Colfax Vikings get another conference win, and they do it over the Boyceville Bulldogs by a score of 53-43. We invite you to join us for more Colfax Viking basketball this week. Girls Thursday night at Elk Mound, boys Friday night at Spring Valley. 6:40 is the start of Viking pregame on both of those, and you can see them on the Northern Light Webcasting Network, NLWN TV for the girls, and NLWN 2 for the boys. So we appreciate you joining us tonight. For Dan Petshaw, camera operator Chris Olson, and our executive producer Rick Olson, I'm Jay Fall. Thanks a lot for joining us, and have a good night.
You've been listening to Viking Postgame, a wrap-up of today's Colfax Viking Boys game. You can catch Colfax Vikings games by tuning in to any of the Northern Light Webcasting Network outlets. This has been a production of the Northern Light Webcasting Network.